Hi, everyone. So my talk is about acceptance and the discussion that comes from acceptance. So next slide, please. So for my research project, I read a couple of different books, which I all liked. I liked all of them. And so one of them was Siddhartha, which I'm sure many of you have read. And it's really cool. It's about, it's kind of like an Eastern look at how you can get fulfillment in your life. And a lot of the messages in there I thought were both very important, but also found in a lot of different texts that I did not expect them to be in. So the idea that the pain has to be experienced in order to get something, and then that you can reach some kind of enlightenment going through a journey was both really kind of inspiring and also really thought-provoking. And then in The Stranger, which is the totally kind of opposite side of the spectrum, it's about a guy who doesn't believe that there is a meaning to life, and he believes that everything is kind of mundane and not worthwhile at all. And so the way he kind of realizes his journey after he's put into jail for murdering someone, he thinks that there is no real meaning to life, and he finds comfort in that because he thinks that it's okay then if something bad happens because there's not so much to deal with. And so I'll explain how these connect in a couple of slides. Next slide, please. I also read Moby Dick, which is about a whale, and it's kind of like a religious experience for the captain who's trying to capture him, and they kind of have a kind of great battle, and which is epic and is known as kind of an epic portrayal of the relationship between man and nature or a god. And so this idea, again, that humans have to overcome obstacles was kind of portrayed when Captain Ahab was like, "Swerve me, you can't swerve me, I'm going to continue on this." And then the entire senior class had to read Hamlet. And so Hamlet, his god is fate. And so he talks about how his fate cries out and makes him go on. So again, he's overcoming obstacles. Next slide, please. And then the last book I read was about Brave New World, which is, again, kind of a classic, and it's dystopian, where there's this new society where everything is very technical. Babies, instead of being born, come out of test tubes. And there's this one guy who's known as the Savage, because he comes from an Indian reservation where these kind of technological ideas about life are so extreme and so kind of unnatural to him, and he kind of rebels against it because he thinks that it gets rid of a lot of the beauty in life. And so with him, he's saying here that he doesn't want comfort. He wants instead kind of the dangerous beauty of life. Next slide, please. So in all of these different books, I found that the different characters were all pursuing some kind of truth. They all needed some kind of perseverance to get over obstacles that were in their way, and they all reached some kind of enlightenment, whether it was all very different enlightenment. So for example, in The Stranger, the guy realizes, everything's mundane, and that's what he believes. In Siddhartha, Siddhartha believes that becoming one with humanity and kind of realizing that everyone has a purpose in the world, that's kind of his enlightenment, and he felt really special for being part of that human experience. In Moby Dick, it was kind of the realization that you can't always win when you go up against something. And then with Brave New World, it was, again, the beauty in life. And then with Hamlet, it was that fate sometimes is unavoidable, but it can still lead to kind of tragic but beautiful ends. And so what I got from this is that there are many different ways you can kind of experience what happens to you, but they all are very valid. And so that made me think about how in this world, everyone has so many different experiences, there are so many different religions, so many different beliefs, but if these different books that all had such different ideas, if they all can be valid, then why can't people's ideas also be valid? So next slide, please. So the way I thus thought about that was that acceptance, that the acceptance that these other opinions are valid is both enriching to the individual and to society, that if we believe that other people have a right to their own opinion, even if we don't agree to it, it first off gives us beauty, because we can, even if we can't totally understand and empathize with it, we can kind of think about it, and it adds a new dimension to our experience. But it also kind of can lead to rational discussion that can enrich our everyday interactions with other people. And so something that I think that, when you look at Facebook, and I'm on Facebook all the time, sometimes you see that some people just post something because they're very, angry or very upset, and they don't always consider all of the different discussions. And so I think that the way that we can apply this, and the way that I've been trying to apply it, is by only posting things that I've thought about and trying to be tolerant of other decisions, or at least listen to other people's ideas, even if I feel very strongly about something. So I thought the idea of tolerance and respecting other people's ideas and realizing that there is beauty in other ideas and other perceptions of the world is really important and can be applied to our lives every day. So next slide, please. So please go to the survey, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Again, all your different voices are really interesting. I'd love to hear. Okay, thank you.